Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Teri Barr, and this is a new PennyWise podcast from Lee Enterprises. Thanks so much for being here today. So many of these are very serious because, of course, we're talking about your money. Today, though, we're going to find out what's hot, what's happening, and why you just may want to plan a trip to Vegas sometime yet this year. We are so happy to have with us today Sally French. Now, Sally is the travel rewards expert with NerdWallet. Hey, Sally.
Hi, Terry. Thank you for having me on today for such a fun topic. Let's go to
I
Vegas.
love this. Let's go to Vegas. And I bet by the time we're done, you and I are both going to want to book a ticket really soon.
I'm ready.
Oh, and why is Vegas doing okay right now? Tell us a little bit more about what you know, since we're watching things sort of change over time.
Yeah, well, this is probably surprising to no one is that the travel industry has been completely upended. But what is, I think, a little bit surprising is that actually Vegas seems to be doing really well. International travel is so difficult right now. People don't want to have to take a test to come back in. People don't know what the vaccine requirements are. So in a lot of ways, it's easy to stay domestic. And when you look at what are the best places to travel domestically, Vegas is clearly one of them.
It's so interesting because, even as we were all kind of growing up, we always heard of Vegas as sort of the sin city. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But it sounds like things are turning around where they want people of all ages to come hang out and see what Vegas has to offer.
Definitely. Vegas is changing its tune. And this year, so many new hotels have opened in Vegas. And what's really interesting about these new hotels is that some of them don't have a casino at all. There's one that has a casino with no smoking. And we're seeing not just new hotels, but new shops, new entertainment offerings that all really seem to have a family focus. Vegas is still Vegas, right? But Vegas is not really, that Sin City vibe completely. There is something for families. There's something for everyone now.
Okay, well, let's get to your list. You put together a really great list to really kind of quickly get us up to date on some of the new things happening. And this just blows me away. When you think about old, sort of always been there hotels like a Stardust, there's something that has replaced the Stardust, and this is huge, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, the Stardust is your classic old Vegas hotel. When it opened in the 1950s, it was the largest hotel at the time, and it's gone now. It's been vacant for so long. But what has replaced it is another giant hotel. In fact, it's actually three hotels in one. Hilton has
Wow.
come in with this hotel called Resorts World, and Resorts World is made up of three hotels. There's the Las Vegas Hilton, which is sort of your standard family Hilton hotel. And then there's the Conrad Las Vegas, which is a luxury brand. If you're familiar with the Conrad brands, are all very fancy, very high end. And then even higher is this smaller, more boutique style hotel. It only has 236 rooms. It's called Crockford's. So sort of whatever you want, there is something for you in this old Stardust spot.
Isn't that incredible? Oh my gosh. Okay. So you've got three properties in one there at Resorts World. Then we go to kind of another name everybody's sort of familiar with. And I know I was kind of thinking, oh no, Virgin replaces Hard Rock. But tell us more about this, why this might be okay.
Yeah, Terry, I'm thinking about all these hotels that are replacing these sort of classics. So Hard Rock is gone, Stardust is gone, but Virgin is coming in, and it has that same entertainment, fun, cool vibe
Hmm.
that you would expect from Hard Rock. So if you remember the Virgin Airlines, which since got bought out by Alaska, the Virgin Airlines were so fun. They were so cool. They had this cool purple mood lighting, and I don't know if you remember their safety video. It was like a song, and they
It
made
was
fun of the fact,
goofy. Yeah.
so goofy. They made fun of the fact that nobody knew how to put on a seatbelt. They're like, we're not going to tell you how to put on a seatbelt. Everyone knows it. So it was so cheeky. And you can expect that same exact vibe at this new Virgin hotel. It's going to have entertainment at its forefront. So there's this big lawn that's designed for outdoor shows. And, I think that's especially important
Oh,
in this
yeah.
post-COVID era, that people want entertainment, they want fun, but I do think people really want that emphasis on outdoors. And I'm not sure how
Yeah.
many people are willing to go to an indoor show, but Virgin's got this big lawn for outdoor shows. big outdoor pool complex that I think it's going to be a huge hit.
Wow. Okay, that sounds really fun. I'll meet you there.
I'm down. I'm ready.
Oh
Let's
my
go.
gosh, no kidding. And it's so interesting because as I go through the list you put together, all of them offer something, as you mentioned earlier, a little bit different. So here we have the Park MGM. Tell us
Yes.
more, Sally.
Yes. So the Park MGM just opened in September 2020, which I think is just the
Oh,
wildest time to open a
wow.
hotel. You think that was like sort of like peak COVID panic, at least it seemed to be based on the news.
Yeah.
But you know what? That did not stop Park MGM from opening. And they are so supremely located. They're right next to the New York Hotel.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah, and you know, we all know and love them for their rides. And so the Park MGM opened, and they're really interesting because I think they do have more of a family focus. Maybe it makes sense because they're located next to the New York Hotel,
Yeah.
but they are the first smoke-free resort that still includes a casino on this strip. And that's got to be a big draw for families, I'm sure. And if you're not a family, if you want to be a little more posh, the hotel is really interesting. They've got a smaller hotel within a hotel.
Oh,
I guess a sub hotel. It's called Nomad, and that's more of an intimate luxury type hotel. And what is so great about the Park MGM is I mentioned their location next to the New York,
oh,
but
yes.
also they're located on this amazing little park area. Maybe that's why it's called the Park MGM. Who knows? But there's tons of great shopping. There's an outdoor beer garden. There's a Hello Kitty cafe. So again, you
Oh,
know, we talked about bring your kids, bring me. I'm not a kid, but I want to go to the
I
Hello
love
Kitty.
Hello Kitty.
And the Hello Kitty cafe is great. They've got like little cupcakes, little macaroons shaped like Hello Kitty. So how can you not love that? Um, Another great thing in that whole area is they've got this awesome, it's like a giant grocery store, I guess is how I would describe it. It's called
Ooh,
Italy, and it started in Italy. And it's this place where you can go in, and it's this huge Italian type market. And there's little vendors that you can try all different sorts of Italian food. You can buy groceries in case you want to buy groceries when you're on the Las Vegas trip. But to me, I'm like, this is a destination, even if you don't want to use a casino at all.
yeah.
Uh, there's so much to do in that one little area.
It is. It's like a city within a city within a city. So often
Absolutely.
you used to be able to get lost in some of these places, and it sounds like it's even bigger and more grand. And yeah,
Yes.
what a
But
way
you
to
know what
spend a
I love
day.
about it?
Oh,
Yeah, I
tell
mean,
me.
it's a great way to spend the day. But you know, I think of like back in old Vegas, you would just kind of get lost through the
Yeah.
casinos, and they famously like don't have windows, they don't have clocks, so you don't know, you know, how long you
Free
spend gambling.
drinks.
The free drinks, so you're just like kind of trapped in there. But I actually love this emphasis now on the outdoors, and you can
Yeah.
get lost wandering from the beer garden to the cafe to the Italy, and you know, this was designed pre-COVID, before that was in the lexicon, but I love
Wow.
this emphasis on sort of the outdoor space.
Oh my gosh, I do too. And I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. I think we've
Yeah, I
discovered how
hope
much
not.
we
I
love
love
the
it.
outdoors.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. And then you've got, now I find this interesting because we love, when we go to Vegas, we love to stay in the Fremont Street area, the good
Same.
old Golden Nugget. But now there's some things happening there, and I cannot wait for you to tell us what the big one is. Tell me, tell me,
Yeah,
tell me.
you're right. Well, I do love the Golden Nugget. I have to say the Golden Nugget is awesome for their pool with the sharks swimming adjacent to you.
Yes.
But the Golden Nugget pool has got some competition now,
Oh,
because you have to head to the first new resort development on that old downtown area since 1980, and that is the new Circa Resort and Casino. And this hotel is wild for its huge, you know, you could call it a pool if you're being simple, but they are calling it a multi-tiered aquatic amphitheater.
oh my
And
gosh.
I think it's going to put the sharks over at the Golden Nugget to shame,
Oh,
because this is where you want to go for your watch parties of, you know, the big game, whatever's on. You know, your Grammys, I would love to watch from the pool. So it's basically these like layers of pools. So you choose which pool you want to be on, and like an amphitheater, you'll have a great view as they all look onto this giant screen. I think pool parties, watch parties are never going to
Mhm.
be the same when you look at this place.
Now I wonder, and maybe you know or don't know, could there also be live music there where, oh my gosh, you could actually be in the pool listening to a favorite band or something?
Absolutely. And
Oh,
that is the forefront of all of these places. I mean, and it's funny, it's not just a Circa resort that's doing this. I mean, Virgin's got this awesome, like cool purple vibe DJ booth overlooking the pool. You go back to Resorts World, and actually they have this giant pool complex, and theirs is 5.5 acres.
oh,
And they've got a big infinity pool overlooking the strip. The focus seems to be on pools. I mean, it makes sense. Las Vegas is hot. You want to be outdoors now. It's
yes.
absolutely perfect.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I love that. And I think one thing I read in the story you wrote also about this new Circa, you can overlook Fremont Street at the bar. And that street
Yes.
is so happening. How fun to be able to do that.
Fremont Street is so happening. So if you've never been to Fremont Street, it's this awesome like strip of stores, of shopping, of bars,
Yeah.
of casinos, and going over your head down the big street is a giant zip line. And anyone can, pay money to go zip line. I have never done the zip line, but maybe I should do the zip line. But if you're too scared to zip line, the Circa Resort has got something awesome. They have a bar that lines the whole Fremont Street, and you can overlook. It doesn't line the whole Fremont Street, but it
Right,
lines
right.
a portion of it, and you could overlook the zip liners, which I think is like an awesome view of the
Oh,
whole thing.
I love
Fremont
that
Street,
idea. Yeah, well, and
yeah, and
otherwise, yeah, you're on the ground watching them. So what a different vantage point, and then to be able to sort of do the people watching thing too.
the people
Mhm.
watching, Terry, that is where it's at. There's always, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but the people watching will stay in your mind forever. Some of the things you see, I mean, there's great music, there's characters walking around,
Oh, yeah.
and to have that sort of almost bird's eye vantage is really unique.
Yep. We have picture proof from some of our times on Fremont Street, and then later you wonder if you should have taken those
So yeah,
pictures.
so it doesn't stay in Vegas. You have the picture
Ah, right.
proof. It might be on
Thank you.
Instagram also.
Oh, Sally, this is so much fun. Oh my goodness. You've got some other notes regarding a couple of other hotels that we might want to think about. And I think it started with you mentioning Harrah's Vegas.
Yeah, Harris underwent a $200 million renovation. And if you remember, Harris was getting a little old. So they remodeled their casino floor. There is still smoking. But they did get a pretty solid facelift. So if you've kind of felt like, Harris is past its prime, maybe it might be worth checking out. They're a Caesars property. So that means that you can have status. If you have status with Wyndham Rewards,
Oh,
Caesars
yeah.
will recognize that. So I know Wyndham is a huge hotel loyalty program. So if you're trying to
Mhm.
spend your points, actually Harrah's now might be a good place to do it.
That's brilliant. Thank you for reminding us about the points too that can go into all of these various hotels. Hyatt is another big name, and they've got something going on there too, right?
Yes. I mean, speaking of looking for places to use your points, this was a huge announcement that just
Mm.
came out is that Hyatt is actually now purchasing the Rio Hotel. The Rio is slightly off strip, but totally fun place. I think it's probably most famous for its Penn and Teller show, or maybe it's
Yes,
Thunder Down Under show. I'm not sure which one
or
you
both.
perceive it, or both, or both.
Oh my
But
goodness.
they are set to undergo renovation. We don't know when that's going to happen, but that's definitely one I'm keeping my eye on. I love the World of Hyatt loyalty program, and so soon when that renovation takes place, you'll be able to earn points for staying there, and you'll be able to spend your Hyatt points for
You know,
stays there.
I think honestly, Sally, I think many of us forget about being able to use, Hilton and Hyatt and all these points that are now associated and in some cases owning these various hotels in Vegas. So that is such a good reminder to look for that.
Yes, I mean, you think about like this whole resorts world, it's three hotels in one, and you can use your Hilton points there. Resorts World is a Hilton property.
Wow.
That means if you have your Hilton free night certificate, which is something that you can earn from holding certain credit cards, you
Yeah.
can spend that in Vegas. And you think that Resorts World has this Conrad hotel. Conrad is one of the most expensive brands to stay at. I'm not paying for a
Yeah.
Conrad in cash. But you can spend those points there is a great way to save money or really, not spend any money at all.
Okay. Now, this name kind of threw me for a loop. Waldorf Astoria. I think New York City.
Yes. So there is now a Waldorf Astoria in Vegas. It actually replaces the old Mandarin Oriental. And
Ah,
that is actually a really interesting property. We talked about earlier, Terry, those hotels that are moving away from casinos, moving away
right.
from allowing smoking. And this property is very posh. There's no casino in it. So for someone who loves that Vegas vibe, but maybe doesn't necessarily want to walk through a casino at the end of their night home, they want to go into someplace a little quieter.
Yeah.
This is a really, really interesting place to stay. The Waldorf Astoria, great location right in the center of the strip.
Gosh, the choices are just unbelievable. So, of course, now I have to ask you, what do we do? How do we even start looking this to try and book a trip?
Yes. Well, for one, I would check and see if you have any credit card points, any hotel points. Most of us probably haven't traveled as much as we're used to. So check
Right.
your points balance. I mean, I just opened my credit card account and it told me like how many points I had. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like really need to spend these. So look
Ooh,
for bookings on points. And that's so important, especially now. We are seeing travel to Vegas increase so much. And that means hotel prices are increasing a ton. In fact, I was
okay.
just looking at cabana prices, and usually I would say a cabana is like $300 at a fancy hotel.
Yeah.
Cabanas were going for over 1,000. I think everyone just has so much pent up demand. They're trying to spend, this money that they didn't spend last year, and they want to have a great vacation. But that means that hotel prices are going up a lot. But often, a lot of hotel brands don't increase their points prices proportionally. So, like Hyatt, for example, just uses an award chart. So the same room is 20,000 nights, 20,000 points on, a random Wednesday in February, and it's 20,000 points on Christmas Day. So use your points on Vegas right now. Vegas prices are really going up, but you
Okay.
you can probably find a good deal on points.
Okay.
My other advice is we're all working from home except me. You can see I'm here in the NerdWallet office,
Yes,
which
you are.
which I love. But so many of my friends are still working from home. Take a little work from home day in Vegas. Um, Prices are so high Fridays, Saturdays. Everyone wants to be in Vegas to hit the club for the weekend. But if your employer allows you to work remotely, spend a Tuesday there. And, there's so many hotels to check out. You could probably spend the whole week there. Just try to avoid the weekends.
Oh, that is such great advice. And get a little work in and then a little fun. That's
Right, because I'm like,
perfect.
you can only spend so much time in the pool before you start to get sunburned. So I'm like, okay, like 2 hours of pool, 2 hours of come back to my hotel room and do some work, maybe respond to some emails at the pool deck. And then, of course, there's all the great food to eat.
Oh,
So you got to, spend a week in Vegas eating all the food and then come back, do your NerdWallet work or, whoever you work for during the
right.
day.
Oh, I love this so much. I guess, is there anything that you could tell people as we sort of watch the prices rise, along with the tips you've given? And I guess we're still kind of in that what if sort of stance. What would you tell people who are watching and listening to our podcast?
Well, we are in such a what if stance. In fact, the news just came out that Nevada has issued an emergency order requiring people in certain areas, including Las Vegas, to wear masks in indoor spaces, whether or not they're vaccinated. And I see so many rules changing. You might think
Yeah.
I've booked a trip to Vegas, and then all of a sudden these new rules are coming, whether that's I'm here in San Francisco at the NerdWallet office, where they actually are requiring proof of vaccine to come to a lot of restaurants and bars in San Francisco.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that's happening in Nevada, but it could. And, so many of these rules are changing, and that might impact whether or not you want to go to that place. Do you want to go to an indoor club in Vegas if you have a mask? If yes, great. But I also understand that you might not want to do that. So make sure that you've booked refundable travel.
Hmm.
A lot of hotels actually have gotten really flexible with their cancellation policies.
Great.
Super common. Places like Hyatt will say you can cancel 24 hours in advance and get a full refund. That's great. Um, Look for airlines that do the same. Airlines are a lot better. Just I advise not booking basic economy is usually tough to cancel, but especially like airlines like Southwest have gotten super flexible or have always been really flexible about their cancellations. So make sure you're booking with a brand that will actually let you cancel.
Great advice. And I guess it also sounds like not being afraid to ask questions. If you have questions about cancellations or changes, or even if you want to know about what the latest rules are, is that right?
Yes. I mean, always contact the hotel. That's great advice. And it doesn't hurt to ask, even if the policy says what the policy says. Be
Hmm.
nice on the phone, make that person's day, and ask them, we had this thing come up, maybe someone tested positive for COVID and can we cancel? And you know what? These people working on the end of customer service, they're people too, and they're willing to work
Right.
with you. So as long as you be nice, I always say you might as well ask.
I love all of this great advice. And I love that we end on the be nice. It's nice to be
Be nice.
nice.
Be nice when you travel,
Yeah.
especially now. I mean, you think the tourism industry has gotten so slammed. All these people lost their jobs last year. Now they're coming back to their jobs and they have so
Mhm.
many customers who want to be served immediately that it seems like it's been such a tough year for the travel industry, and it still is. So I want to respect all these travel workers. They're working so hard.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. And thank you for this fabulous discussion about Vegas.
Vegas, where are we going? When are we
Oh,
going, Terry?
I look at the list that you've given us and all we've discussed. I think I would have a hard time choosing not only from these, but any of the other ones that maybe you've stayed at before. So,
I agree. I keep thinking about
whew,
my old favorites too.
yeah, yeah. Well, I hope if anyone goes, they'll let us know where they stayed, what they did. I'd love to just hear about all of it right now. Oh my
Me too.
gosh.
I could talk about Vegas all day.
Yeah, this
I
was
hope
really fun.
I I hope to hear more.
Oh, Sally French, you are wonderful. Sally is the travel rewards expert, and she is with NerdWallet telling us all about Vegas. Sally, thank you so, so much.
Thank you. I'll see you in
Oh, I
Vegas.
love that idea. I love it. And everyone, you can, of course, get any of our PennyWise podcasts wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts, watching them. They're always available that way as well. And we have a ton now in our records if you want to go backwards to see any of the other episodes. But this one's really fun. Again, Sally French with NerdWallet. Sally, thank you. And everyone, have a great day.